Now, the biggest financial threat to the state, of course, is the current pension problem. There are persistent problems within both of the big pension systems in the state, and the next governor is likely going to have to oversee a lot of big reforms to the systems in order to make sure they are solvent for the future. What specific reforms would you push for if elected?
Again, if people look at my blueprint for a better Kentucky, and you see it at mattbevin.com, mattbevin.com. Simple, straightforward. There's one page on each of these issues, including one page on the pension situation. Interestingly, they're not dramatic, but they are specific, and they include several things. First of all, we need to audit every one of the pension plans. Every one, not with the state auditor. With all due respect to our state auditor, I think it should be done by an outside auditor. Open the books. Let people see exactly what's going on and what isn't going on under the hood. Number two, freeze the existing plan for those that are already a part of it, those that are already state employees or retirees. We have an obligation, a legal and moral obligation, to fulfill the promises that have been made. We won't be able to if we allow it to become insolvent. So in order to deliver to people, whether they're only 1 year in as a teacher or whether they're 20 years out as a retiree, the obligation that was made to them, we need to deliver on. So we need to freeze it for anybody new coming in, move to a 401k style plan, a defined contribution plan. And this is something that has got to happen immediately for all new people coming into the system. Then what we need to do is give incentive to those, and we'll look at actuarial tables. Let's assume it's maybe 35. If we offer it to everybody, the system could have a run on the bank. But let's say for those that are under 35, we'll offer you the ability to take a lump sum payment, to now take control in a 401k style plan, to roll it into an IRA of a certain sum of money that has been saved by you, contributed by you, and that the state has contributed on your behalf, to remove that from the defined benefit plan or the current cash balance plan with a guaranteed rate of return, which is somewhat the same thing with a different name. Remove yourself from that plan and now take control of your own money, so that, let's say now 14 years in, let's say you're a state trooper and you're 14 years in and you just think, you know what, I don't want to do this for the next 6 years. I don't want to do this. I want to go into business with my sister, or I want to go work for this nonprofit, or I want to stay home and be with my family, whatever the case might be. But I've only got 6 more years to go, so I'm going to do something that I don't have the heart for, the desire for. You know, why should we be locking people in? Why should they not have the ability to get value for the service that they've provided to our state? So these are some of the things that I'm talking about. These are ways in which we can give the worker control and ultimately relief to the taxpayer by minimizing the liability. We are very underfunded, as you know, more so than most people I think even recognize, with the net result of this being that if we don't address it, we will become insolvent. So it's imperative that this be addressed and be addressed immediately. I'm the only one in this race that's offering specific solutions on how we're going to address this pension crisis.
Now, you bring up the underfunding. The Kentucky retirement system is very underfunded. I mean, they have very little cash left. If we were to give people lump sums, would that not kind of drain the account even further?
Again, this is why I say intentionally that we have to look at actuarial assumptions, look at actuarial tables, look at the demographics, look at the makeup of those in the plan, and start it based on a level at which, if they all took you up on it, it wouldn't break the system. Now, most won't, ironically. Most people tend to not make changes. But give people the incentive to do so. If you opened it up to everybody, it could potentially be like Bailey's Savings and Loan and It's a Wonderful Life, where they all run on it, and you don't want that. We're not trying to make bigger problems, but we want to give people control. The important thing for people to understand is that even if we do all these things I'm calling for, and I frankly believe that we must do these things, it's going to take 20 to 30 years to get back to being fully funded. We didn't get here overnight. It took us 12 to 15 years to get unfunded to this degree. It'll take double that amount of time to get back.
Absolutely. Now, there's been some talk about bonding in order to shore up these systems. $3.3 billion was talked about in the last session, and Kentucky Retirement System has looked at a $5 billion bond. And they said even if we did that $5 billion bond, it would get us to 53% funded.
Yeah, I mean...
So how do you feel about the bonding issue?
We're talking about the type of gauze and the type of topical ointment, but we're not stopping the bleeding. And this bonding is, we wanted to, House Bill 4 is the first one you referenced. House Bill 4 was going to take $3.3 billion, bond it, hoping that our children and grandchildren still live in Kentucky to pay it back when the bond comes due. stick it to the future to solve 1/3 of one hole in one plan today. A bad idea, while not addressing the continued bleed associated with a financial outflow of dollars in our system. We are fast on the road to insolvency if we don't address the cause of the problem. So we've got to stop the financial bleeding first. Not a fan of just sticking it to the future. That's not solving anything.